By the way, I love this game's style. Like, it's combining like elements from Paradise Killer. I mean, I'm thinking of Cyberpunk, but to be honest, it's not really the same sort of world as Cyberpunk. Shadows of Doubt, a tiny little hint of maybe Peripecia, and like a little bit of Miskatonic in there. I'm really enjoying this. Read. Latest noble androids receive warm welcome. Surging sales. Stock price rose 3%. The first generation to feature 50% organic components. Well, that feels really relevant. Impractical due to increased maintenance costs. Alienating its customers. Animate 16 is poised to break profitability records. The work of David Asher. Noble Industry Weekend. David Asher is nowhere to be seen. Looks like you're not logged in. He's in the news again. It's no wonder, can't spit without it landing on a piece of noble tech these days. Especially not with the state's involved. Don't know if they'll buy it when it comes to warm androids though. For government use, they're just too frail. All androids undergo wear and tear, especially if they're directing traffic or suppressing crowds. I know these warm androids bleed pink all over themselves every time they take a rock to the cheek. It's just an endless stream of bad photo ops waiting to happen. Very cool. You shouldn't have cleaned up so much just for little old me, Detective London. Someone really needs to introduce this guy to a filing system, or even just a stapler. Paper documents scattered around lazily alongside actual photographs. Either he's really old-fashioned or just really paranoid about data leaks. And he doesn't look like the paranoid type. Well, orderliness aside, some things are better in paper, I'll give him that. Barren, stark and uninviting, this must be Reyes' desk. Keeping your workstation neat and tidy is admirable, but I can't spot a single mote of personalization. Is she so new she hasn't had time to unpack, or is she really that uptight and boring? I mean, she looks really cool, so... both, maybe? Observe, loose wires, missing panels, and an aircon that probably sweats more than the people it's supposed to cool. No room in the budget for making the office not look like shit, huh? I expected to find a lot of belt-tightening at Homicide, but I didn't think their operation would be this bare bones. They've got a stunning clearance rate and they work fast. Guess the city sees that and just assumes their job is easy. Maybe their job is easy, what with our dear doting surveillance state eliminating so much of the footwork. But if your wheels don't squeak and you don't get your palms greased, so Homicide ends up as the only state department with a shrinking budget. The dumping grounds for the police force's most unambitious and least popular. Wow. Okay, nothing else jumps out at me. I've got a better idea of who I'm dealing with at least. Now I need to check out the crime scene data. I should have been sent a link. Granted access. Cool. C. Confirm. You need to reply C. Am I talking to a person? I'm an automated dependent. Ads are usually more polite. I see, like automated dependent ads. That's cool. Our personalities are tailored to suit our users' preferences. So the state likes you to be a little authoritarian. You need to reply C. You know what this is reminding me of? There was like a... God, I don't know if I still have it. It's like an old text prank, and it's like, thank you, you have signed up for hourly cat facts. Meow, I will send you lots of fun, amazing cat facts. Did you know? And then it like lists a cat fact. If you do not want any more cat facts, respond with meow. And the person replies, meow. Meow back at you, you want another cat fact. And then gives another like one or two, and then it's like, if you don't want any cat facts, reply with, reply, I can't remember what it was, like, let me know, and it's like, stop sending me these. Nice to hear from you, you must want another cat fact. Yeah, that was fun. Cool. Alright, if I project from my phone. Arcs. cool. I see. This augmented reality crime system ARCS. This is really cool. Alright, let's see what the police have and what they think is important. The victim's body. Cause of death, ballistic trauma, class 4 blood loss, atrium and aorta. Single gunshot to the heart in brief. Death was instantaneous. No injuries anywhere else and no blood or skin under the nails. Blood spatter, forensics and all that other good stuff tells them that she was shot from there. So the killer was standing in the doorway when they fired. The murder weapon, a revolver, found right next to the body. 6 empty casings found in each of the 6 chambers, meaning the gun's been fired 6 times. Or you put empty cartridges in. Seems like the crime scene techs practically disassembled the damn thing. But all they found were fingerprints belonging to my client. So he was found by the police with the murder weapon right in front of the body. Don't even know where to start. Highly prejudicial would be an understatement. A stand-up mirror shattered and knocked over. Real glass, no screens or cameras here. It was hit hard. Like, that's a detail from Cyberpunk that I think is really cool, that the mirrors and stuff are screens. Like, I think most of the mirrors in that game are like, yeah, the visual, like, camera screens. It's a really cool idea. It was hit hard enough to come and attach from its arm, while shards of glass were scattered, far enough to land on the victim's body. What a mess. Seems like the vase got tossed aside at some point. And yet there's not a scratch on it. Must be pretty damn durable. Isn't art supposed to be delicate? Maybe it's making a statement. That's all the big ticket items. What about security? Looks like the apartment was unlocked all night. It's not uncommon for people their age in a neighbourhood like this. No signs of forced entry, only hurts my client's case. What about the rest of the room? Not much else flagged here. Just a lounge chair that got thrown and whatever that is. Unidentified ceramic debris? Flag is irrelevant. That's their technical assessment? Guess even the crime scene techs weren't sure what to make of it. Okay. That's everything that the police highlighted. But did I miss anything? The hell is that? Something in the victim's hand? How the hell did... Oh, it's just a pill organizer. Looks like immune adjusters, NSAIDs, and tripexazone, a synthetic glucocorticoid medication taken daily to reduce rejection symptoms like phantom pain and generalized itch. The autopsy said her tox screen was clear, but it's not like it matters. She could have swallowed every medicine cabinet in the city and it wouldn't change the cause of death. It's odd, but ultimately irrelevant. Everything else here is really incriminating, but the kick is everything that's not here. No out of the place DNA, footprints, crumbs. Nothing that point towards anyone except my client. I've done more with less than before, but not much more. I'm really going to have to sing for my supper this time. Better get started. Who the hell's messaging me at this time of night? First person who comes to mind is... I suppose it could be something important. Red! Adorable. What couldn't wait until morning? Good news, Obv. Got job for you. That's a pretty cheery way to tell me you violated parole. Not that kind of job, lol. Besides, I've been covering my tracks. This is something different. Kind of thing I can't handle with just a keyboard and phishing scheme. I need you to sue my gym teacher. Not that kind of lawyer, sorry. At least let me finish. What did they do? Made me run laps? Not illegal. Let me finish! They made me run laps. Even though I said I had a stomachache. Said. Gotta be like youth endangerment? depraved indifference or some kind of shit? Sound like you've already got a strong case. Try self-representing this time. What's with the blow-off? Nice phrasing. Oh wow, I'm laughing so hard right now. Adorable. Is that your mugshot? I wasn't gonna not get a copy of my mugshot and use it as a reaction. Glad you found a use case. But I'm working right now. Anything cool? Homicide. Oh, cringe. Wait, what kind of homicide? Is it HBK? Is that the kind of morbid thing kids your age talk about? Teens my age? And yeah, we can read. Compared to the corrupt shit in the headlines. Old-fashioned murder like Hearty B is like quaint. It's not Heartbreak. Then why'd you take the job, lol? You see the 98% conviction rate as a challenge or something? You taking up lost cause probe nose work? Pro bono. Oh right, pro bono. That was autocorrect. You know they give lit homework for a reason, right? This is borderline concern nagging. Maybe you really are a bleeding heart. Or just a sucker. I'm not a sucker. Nice phrasing, lol. You should go to bed, Fran. Tomorrow's Sunday, I can stay up if I want. Tomorrow is Sunday. Because today is Saturday. What's up with the Carpe Diem shit? It's nearly 4 AM, kid. You got school in like 3 hours. Shit. Repeat offenders may be good for business, but that kid's bad for my blood pressure. Important text message, I take it. Just your typical teenage drama. So then, if you wouldn't mind filling me in on a few details. Androids and cops. By the way, I couldn't help but notice that you're light on staff. It's 3 in the morning. Were you expecting a parade? I thought there'd be at least a few androids around. Oh, many androids in any police station this week. Not while the brass is renegotiating contracts. Contracts with Noble? Good guess. Hardly, they're the biggest. Hardly, they're the biggest robotics corp there is. Could spend all day in Center City without leaving their office's shadow. Yeah, we're very fortunate to have them headquartered here. That saves us some money on shipping at least. But these talks never last that long. I'm sure they'll be back to writing checks for Noble ads at the end of the month. Even with Noble pushing those warm androids? Warm, ugh. Might as well call it the adult line. Might see them in the bigger departments or out on patrol, but not these officers. Warm or cold, there's no such thing as an android detective. Yet. Yet? Really? You really think that'll happen? We already use ads for patrolling, securing the scene, pacifying crowds. Doesn't seem like that big a stretch to me. You're joking, right, android detectives? With all the pain we go through getting witnesses to talk to us? With your warm personality, I can't imagine. A cop knocks on your door, starts asking questions, you're going to be put in a bad mood. An ad knocks on your door, calls you a degenerate criminal in synthesized voice loud enough for the whole neighborhood to hear. You're going to start posting shit that'll get you put on a list. Well, we certainly don't want that. But flesh and blood witnesses are becoming less and less common anyway. Cameras, sensors, satellites, we already get all our facts from machines. Give it a few more years, it might make sense to let machines do the investigating too. The union would. The police union wouldn't let that happen. She needn't have specified. It's the only real union there is anymore. Right, details. So how about the basics? What exactly has my client been charged with? Your client, Carlos Baca Flat, was arrested on the scene at 9:50 PM. Using his middle name already, they really do think he's a serial killer. The charge being the first-degree murder of his girlfriend, a Miss Diane Dawn. Huh. That doesn't seem to track. Because if I understand my criminal psychology, which is amateur at best, I will admit, you start with somebody you know, and then you branch out to people you don't. You rarely start with 5 strangers to build up the courage to kill your girlfriend. First degree? That's increasingly rare, to say the least. It's rare for us to get handed anything but crimes of passion around here. City's got damn near more cameras than people, so you gotta be really, really stupid to try and get away with murder. Well, Heartbreak's got away with it 6 times. So what does that make him? 5 times, and that makes him insane. I was gonna go with extraordinary. Let's split the difference and say he's extraordinarily insane. But nutjobs like that aren't renowned for their ability to think ahead. So what makes you think this was premeditated? How about the fact that he stalked and killed 5 other women as a warm-up? A warm-up? 5 previous bullets, 5 previous victims. None of them knew each other, lived near each other, worked in the same fields. Weeks of digital autopsies crawling up and down their online profiles. Nothing. So this serial killer chose his victims at random, if they have nothing in common. Yeah, nothing in common at all. Other than that they all look like cousins. The physical similarities are striking. All 5 prior victims were young women with brown hair and eyes, about the same height, comparable weight. Well, those features aren't exactly uncommon. Couldn't it be a coincidence? If you really believe that, you should quit your job and start buying lotto tickets. I love that. Sorry, I'm pointing. I love that. I love that you see her emotional reaction like that. We just, HK has got himself a type. Anyone can see that. You really gonna try and tell me you don't see the resemblance? A young woman, brown hair, brown eyes. Can't tell how tall she is from a portrait, but I can take the hint. So you think, what exactly? That Carlos Flat wanted to kill his girlfriend so badly he went out and shot 5 other women first? Hey, if the shoe fits. If the shoe fits? Then you put the shoe on the... What Sunshine means is that it's not uncommon for killers to displace their violence from people close them onto outlets with fewer consequences. But if it... The implication is it's a crime of passion. She sort of made the point. Morgan sort of made the point that they're angling for both sides here. Oh, it's a crime of passion. He wanted to kill his girlfriend, so he premeditated with 5 other murders that he pulled off without a hitch. Drifters, loners, strangers, workers. He was probably building up the nerve for tonight by first practicing on those other similar women. Or he's just so far gone that he can't tell the difference anymore. It's not the worst theory in the world, but I'd say it's pretty bad. It's incredibly circumstantial, relying on a very particular mindset, which I haven't heard of before in serial killers stuff. Which, again, I'm no expert. But it seems more likely Occam's razor style to say that it's that this one was just the latest victim of the actual Heartbreak Killer, and upon finishing his 6 shots, he then leaves the gun. The boyfriend comes home, finds her there, rushes to help her, gets blood on his hands. If he shot them, 6 women, and just left them where they lay, why would he have blood on his hands? But it doesn't fit. They want to claim those previous victims for practice runs, dress rehearsals for tonight's main event. But if that were the case, there'd be signs of hesitation, nerves. There'd have been mistakes. On top of which, guns are impersonal, execution shots even more so. There's no sadism or hatred or intimacy in a single bullet to the heart. Killing a girlfriend or a lookalike usually is, if nothing else, a lot less sterile. If you ask me. Well, that was weird. Timeline. I saw the time of death was 9 PM on the autopsy, but do you have a timeline for the rest of the night's events? Can't trust much of what comes out of his mouth, but we've managed thanks to less biased sources. We're pretty confident about what we've been able to piece together from their statements. So they interviewed witnesses. Sounds eerily similar to real police work. The suspect... That's so cool! Look at that! That's so cool. The suspect and his girlfriend were arguing loudly with one another starting around 8 PM. Neighbours were very clear about that part. Couldn't wait to tell us about the happy couple's domestic problems. Everyone in the building knew they'd been fighting for weeks. As you probably gathered from what you saw on the arcs, there was a struggle. Furniture turned over, glass shattered. But things got quiet sometime before 9 PM. And then there's a gunshot. Yeah, so to me this sounds like they were having an argument, he stormed out, and then returned to find her dead. Scrubbers are still scrubbing, looking for audio from the area to get a timestamp. That's so cool that she wears an eye patch over a cybernetic. But we heard from enough concerned citizens to be pretty damn sure about the time. Right, emergency services got a burst of calls from the block shortly after 9 PM. No one seemed to recognise the sound for what it was, but the silence that followed was pretty universally alarming. Officers arrived at the scene at 9:08 PM, established a perimeter, entered through at 9:10, and then they found your client crouched over his dead girlfriend, his hands covered in her blood. At which point they moved to secure the scene and the suspect. Sorry, did you say his hand? Singular? Your client's modded, cybernetic right arm. How modded are we talking about here? Registered with a How habilis. Industrial grade looks like. Says he's spec'd for dexterous manipulation up to class 4 KPA, which means a minimum grip strength of... Well, basically, he could crush your neck without even gritting his teeth. Huh. So, I reckon he did destroy the other ceramic thing, because there were two vases, there was an undamaged, durable vase, and there was ceramic pieces. So I reckon he broke one vase in anger or whatever, but he didn't knock over the other one, because if he did, he would have destroyed it. Considering a career change. No, it's not that, it's just... Your eye must be very sensitive if you put the eye patch on each time. And here I thought you just had a 14-year-old sense of fashion. You think a cop would cover up a dominant eye because it was fashionable? I actually thought the same thing the first time we met. You what? But getting back on track, menus for days. Is that the song? That arm of his has been in the shop for some time now. He can't work without it, money got tight. The arguing? Yeah. When did he put his arm in for repairs? 8 days before HK's first victim was killed? Oh. Okay, well that gets rid of that theory I just said about him using the arm to break one of the vases. He didn't have it. No chance they'd be willing to chalk that up to coincidence. Your client was arrested on the scene after a preliminary scan found his fingerprints on the revolver. And no one else's. A revolver? What kind? The old kind. The real old kind. More specifically, a Calver M54, 6-chambered 10mm. Calver? How retro? You don't know the half of it. We're talking steel chamber, real gunpowder, mechanical firing pin, and no tags. No tags? How is that? Just how old are we talking here? Yeah, 24/7 location data, timestamp trigger pulls, safeties coded to owner biometrics. For the past 3 decades, tags made shooting crimes very unambiguous. And you're claiming my client used some kind of antique to commit these crimes? How else do you think he could have gotten away with this 5 other times? If he tried to buy a gun legit, he'd probably fail the first psych check. And even jailbroken pieces are only good for so long before update withdrawal sets in. So then M54, that's model year 2054. A 30-year-old gun. Well, that sure complicates things, doesn't it? In some ways, sure. But pre-tagging firearms are rare. Gotta be less than 1,000 of them left in the whole country, and fewer still compatible bullets. The ammunition would have to be over 30 years old too. The novelty of his weapon has kept us in the dark so far, but now we have our hands on it, it's gonna put him away for good. Archive department complained loud as hell about how deep they had to dig. But with the protocols they found, the techs were able to match the rifling marks on all 6 bullets to the gun your client was found with. Rifling marks? Bullets fired from guns that old and marked by the barrel shape. So if all 6 bullets have the same rifling marks, we know they were all fired by the same gun. It's not as plug and play as tags are, but it's equally precise science, I assure you. That's really cool that they're talking about essentially like modern techniques. Is like, yeah, it's old-fashioned, but it is legit. And if that's not damning enough, the spent casings from the other 5 shootings were still in the chamber, without even needing to reload. The cal that your client was found with is the gun HK used to murder 6 women. No way to lawyer around that. An untagged gun just being anywhere near a weapon like that could warrant your arrest. Being found by the police over a dead body with an untagged gun used at 5 other crime scenes is just... To summarize then, you'll believe that my client fought verbally, then physically with his girlfriend, and then he retrieved his weapon and shot her. Yeah, pretty much. How did he look when the officers found him? Guilty. How was his effect? Quiet, detached. I still love that eye, it's so cool. Stiff. Not exactly the picture of a grieving partner. That reaction may have lost him points with the cops, but beyond that, people react to loss in all kinds of unusual ways. So long as the police are suspicious of you, there's no right way to grieve. She raises a good point. Heartbreak! Checking my phone here, I have to say, you've done a pretty admirable job keeping the details of HK's crimes a secret. The less reputable sites are doing real journalistic acrobatics trying to piece together a story. Yeah, top 11 theories on who hurt HK was a real weighty read. There's not just journalists though, all kinds have been emboldened. The freaks that HK's managed to bring out of the woodwork in just a few weeks. Can you blame them though? I mean, he's a genuine serial killer. Repeat offenders in general are an endangered species, but he's gone away with... We know what he's gotten away with! Take a look around us, detective. National DNA registry is robust enough that cases never go cold. Cameras on every street, a phone on every citizen. Violent crimes at an all-time low and clearance rates at all-time high. But you're going to spout some alt-pol bullshit about invasion of privacy? No, I'm not. People are safer now than at any other time in history, detectives. So when someone like Heartbreak does come along... good point. I genuinely love the interactions and the way they're characterized. Like, none of them are antagonistic. There is no being an asshole just to be an asshole. Like, I love this game so far. London's trying to look like he can laugh it off. The pressure from the higher-ups must be reaching its peak. They want, maybe need, to see someone charged, and that makes them predictable. That's really weird. Yeah, well, even if there's nothing standard about HK, Department SOP still dictates we starve the media for case details. That way, when we do feed them, they're grateful for whatever scraps they get. But we can't take all the credit this time around. Homicide's tight-knit and tight-lipped, but it's not like there's much information for us to leak in the first place. And why is that? Because none of the shootings were caught on the opt-in crime surveillance system. How is that even possible? I know there are some rough areas in the lower wards, but Optics is watching every street corner in the entire city. You're saying you haven't seen this killer on camera once? You think we'd let him kill 6 people if we did? I understand your concern, Mom, but Optics is only what it says in the name. private surveillance system signing up to feed into the state's security network. It's not perfect, just another one of the many public safety tools in our belt. It's not meant to be perfect, it's meant to help us solve crimes. At least act as a deterrent. One would hope so. Fat chance deterrents of offer war rooms and board meetings. Anyone crazy or desperate enough to commit a crime in a city like this couldn't care less about anything as vague as the consequences of their actions. It's like a safety blanket, one with very few holes left in it. But it does have holes. Patching up those remaining holes takes effort, and that effort usually means rebooting the system. There's all kinds of technical details and digital bureaucracy involved. But the end result is there are occasional localized blackouts. And the math used to schedule them is not impossible to predict. I see. But those windows of opportunity are small and short. Taking advantage of them requires specific knowledge. You'd need to be involved in law enforcement, pub data, or city planning. They'd have mentioned it if my client was a cop, and he wouldn't have needed a public defender either. His file says he's modded for heavy mass manipulation, not tech interfacing, so that just leaves city planning. So does he work construction for the city? HK's only ever struck at times and locations where optics would be down. Even with the devil's own luck. Can't possibly be coincidence. Further raising the whole, oh, he's so insane he would commit a crime of passion, but he's so clever that he can know exactly when and where to do it. Wait, so you're saying this woman was killed? Yeah, there was a blackout from 8 PM to 9 PM tonight. Right on schedule, so to speak. And it included the area surrounding the victim's apartment. Well, what about DNA from the other crime scenes? Was my client a match? There's been no blood, no saliva, no suspect DNA at any of the crime scenes. No footage and no forensics. And no motives, tampering, or witnesses. It's been like hunting a damn ghost. We didn't even have a murder weapon. Until now. Finally, a lucky break for the boys in blue. Scanners, cams, drones, forensics, no matter how you dress it up with tech, all detective work relies on one basic assumption. People make mistakes. But HK's the kind of monster who doesn't make mistakes. Only reason we caught him was because he finished what he set out to do all along. Alright, looking at it from that perspective, it being the 6th bullet in a 6-round gun does imply that it was the culmination. I still think it's more likely that there was another killer who, on the 6th one, abandoned the gun. Guess it raises the question of why he doesn't reload. So was my client on the list of suspects before tonight? Weren't you listening? There was no list of suspects. We questioned some X's, a few CIs, someone even spoke to one of the 2 unlisted at some point. Nothing came of it. There was talk about starting on some kind of psych eval or something, but I never expected much to come of that. There's just not enough there to work with. In other words, the only thing they have, the only thing they could have to link my client to those killings is the murder weapon. If I can jostle that keystone, then the rest of their case could start to come loose as well. Thanks for the chat, detectives. I think I understand the background well enough now.